I'm Eric Russell. I am out and about with the cast of Richmond Triangle Players production of The Busy World is Hushed. This is their entry into the Acts of Faith series here in Richmond. So you guys have a very powerful show here tonight. Really was pulled into it. It had that authentic feel of a family and such, and just really, really enjoyed it. But I want to start here with who you are and how you're involved with the show. So since you're closest to me.
I am Dexter Ramsey. I am the director of the show.
Woo!
Oh, my turn. I'm Lisa Beringer, and I'm Hannah in the show.
I'm Chris O'Neill, and I'm Brant in the show.
And I'm Thomas. Well, my name is Chris Hester, but I play Thomas. I play Thomas in the
He's
show,
still a character.
who is Hannah's son.
Nice.
This is really, again, a very powerful show. It's one of the Acts of Faith series. And there's a quote I want to start with, which I think kind of sums up what's going on in this production and with this family. Hannah's character is this Episcopal minister.
Right.
Comes up with this phrase: "The Bible is a self-contradictory, haphazardly edited compilation," which really sounds like this family in terms of how they view stuff. Because her view is, this is a collection of stories that's been edited and re-edited, and it isn't the final thing, because her character is looking for the authentic Jesus, and she's received this Gnostic that has never been shown before, has been removed down to the 4 that are in the Bible. And so it's like they are all kind of functioning that way. They're all have their own stories. They're all looking for something authentic, but they've edited their own story. They're seeing what they want. They don't want other people to look beyond it. That's my take.
That's a lot to tell.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
I think it resonates very well, though, that take on it.
Because your character is, she's looking for an authentic
Clear view of
Jesus.
God. Yeah, so.
Thomas is looking for, I might think, like a clear view of home, maybe? And you set this up as, he's the doubt going, well, that's my son, but he's just never really here, to your brand new assistant.
Right.
Talk about y'all's interactions, you know. How do y'all view your characters and how they interact in some of those regards?
Yeah, Thomas is, well, his father has died. Hannah's husband, I guess they were married.
Definitely. Definitely.
Died before Thomas was born, and so he never had a father, and he was raised by his mother, who became a minister at that time. The father was also was a minister as well, and so Thomas was raised by Hannah with the teachings, I believe, of the Gospels and everything. I mean, he refers to, every night before bedtime she'd read to me from the Gospels. And I think that over the years, they've started to drift apart because he's missing something in his life. He doesn't quite buy into all the faith and spirituality, and I think he's on a journey personally to find out what does life mean? What am I all about? Why am I here? And it just so happens I show up, right, on the anniversary of my father's death, basically to come home and go through his things. I've just finished a trip, Thomas has just finished a trip, to visit the site where his father had died. And so I think this culminates with him coming home at a very fragile time for both Hannah and for Thomas, because it's kind of an anniversary period for someone they both loved and cared.
Because he seems to have done this, the character's been doing this since he was a young child. He gets lost.
He's seeking. He's constantly seeking. And Hannah gives him all the freedom to do that. But she can't seem to give him peace of any kind. I think that's the real frustration. And she finds it in her faith. And as much as she questions everything, her faith is exceedingly strong. It is, her faith is her life. And Thomas rejects that. So there's a real tension between the two of them with faith.
And not to give any of the show away, but I think at the end of the day what I've reconciled is that Thomas does love his mother very, very, very much. Yep. Despite everything that goes on and their bantering and their bickering. But he truly does believe that she has substituted faith for her husband, and in a way substituted faith for, for her son, and that and I think Thomas really feels like her work in God and Christ and all of that is much more important to her than he is. And I do think there's a level of jealousy and insecurity, saying, I wish you would just love me. Why do you, can you just love me without the ties of spirituality and religion tied into it? Can you just be mom for once?
Yeah.
I think, though, I think every character in this play is on a certain journey, and each one of them is searching for something. I think Thomas is searching for a homestay. Hannah has her own search. She's searching for this gospel for whatever reason, what it brings to her. Then there's Brant, who is the writer, who's helping write this book about the gospel, and he sort of comes into this firestorm of a family, and he's searching. We learn very early on that his father is not well, and he needs, as his favorite prayer states, he needs comfort and safety right now. He needs a safe harbor to come into. Little did he know he wasn't coming into a safe harbor.
Yes.
But so all three characters are on this quest. They're all searching for something, which makes this even more poignant for an Acts of Faith entry.
Yeah. Just from the beginning, I think this is a story that can involve anybody that's involved in any relationship. That work and which can overlap.
Definitely.
You've come in for this job, and next thing you know, someone's playing matchmaker.
Right.
I've got this friend. Oh, my son or daughter would love you. And next you're dating somebody that somebody set up from work, and it doesn't always end the way you want it to.
Yeah, and I think Brant is the type of guy that is very star-crossed and very naive, and I think he's probably been someone that's been burned an awful lot. So he's jaded in a way, but as you'll see in this play, he's somewhat manipulated. To put it mildly.
But he's so sincere.
Yes.
I do really love Brant. The character is just, and I don't, oh God. Anyway, I don't want to give anything away.
Because there are some moments you're going, there is a sense that your character is the surrogate child.
Right.
Definitely.
That's right.
That everyone's been her assistant, has been the replacement for Thomas.
Right.
And that Hannah's character just is not capable of that unconditional love that Thomas is possibly seeking. There's a string attached. If you only can see of some sort. But then there's strings attached between your two characters. There's some preconceived notions and stories. Each person has formed their own story in their head. Well, this is where I planned us to be. This is where I wanted for you, if only you give this to me. That, and your character makes the phrase a hard and piteous love, which is kind of contradictory.
Right. Right.
How do you have that? From your position as the director coming into the show, challenges and things, bring out these characters, getting us to this point.
Well, the biggest thing is actually finding the perfect people, which I probably believe I did. I told them one day 75% of my job was done when I picked those three people. And then we just worked together to tie them all together, where the way I went at it was Brent was an anchor that she wanted to see for her son. And maybe a little manipulation going on there. If I do keep him here, I can keep my son. So he's telling the truth. The biggest challenge really was just trying to keep them from going over the top with the characters. It's a powerful piece. And I got my reward tonight with the audible gasp, but I won't give away when it happens. But I was very happy about that. So.
I think, and I know we've all talked about this, and I know Dexter and I and Chris talked about this. What's interesting about this being RTP's entry into Acts of Faith is it's a play that happens to have two gay people in it, but the storyline is not about the church dealing with homosexuality.
Exactly.
Right.
It has nothing to do with that. In fact, Hannah very early dismisses and says, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who,
Exactly.
and so it's kind of neat because it then really is about just the relationships.
That's right.
That's what's so nice about this play.
It's not driven by sexuality
Right.
or the church versus gay. It has nothing to do with that.
And the other nice thing is it doesn't give you any answers, this play.
We don't know how it resolves itself. We
I
don't
mean-
know what goes on.
Apparently
You
we
have to
like
make
that.
decisions.
Figure out what's
Yes,
going on.
you have to decide about your own
We'll let
beliefs.
you
No
think about it.
spoilers.
We'll
No
let you think
spoilers.
about it.
What is one thing you want an audience to take away from your performance or about your characters?
I think that a lot of people who see the show will identify with pieces in all of us, but most importantly will identify with the fact that they are too on their own journey, whatever that is, into finding whatever they need to find. And they'll relate to maybe Brant making some poor decisions because his father's ill. We're not thinking clearly. I need something to hold on to. Or Thomas just chasing and running. Or even Hannah just being willful at times, because we all are doing it for the right reasons in many ways. And in that sense, I think people will be able to identify with it.
What do you think?
That's one of the things that appeals to me about this play, is that even though Hannah is a minister, she's not rigid. She's very human, and she's searching. She's very open, and well, maybe she's rigid about a couple of things with her faith, but she's still willing to talk about it and share. And that openness is very appealing to me.
Because her character is always out doing something, even though she's not getting anything from her ministry, the prison, the Alzheimer's. She's still up there every day.
Yeah, she does a lot like that, but also her research and going through her musty little pieces of paper and all of that too.
And I think you said it. You said it best. I think people can leave and say, "Where do I have an element of confusion or dysfunction or weirdness in my life?" And I think that this really what it's a character study. This show is.
Yeah.
Just set in a theological sort of place. And like you said, I know these people. We all know these sorts of people. And maybe
need
by
these people.
Yeah, and we need these people. And and maybe by seeing this, it allows people to think, maybe just think about where those situations exist, and what could be done in those, and just be more aware.
And every family has problems of some sort that have to be resolved, and sometimes they blow up and blah, blah. But it's really nice but at the bottom there is always love.
There is.
Yeah.
And
I think
There's
that's
no
the key
doubt that
right
there
there.
isn't love between these characters. There is an authentic love component
yes.
that they have formed a family. You guys, this is a fantastic show.
Great.
Thank you.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Final thoughts from anyone about your character when people come and see your show?
Come see it.
Definitely. Come see the show and be prepared to go home discussing it, because we're not going to give you any answers.
That's right.
Wow.
No spoilers, no answers. You have to resolve the show on your own. Who does what? But the show is The Busy World is Hushed. It runs from February 27th through March 23rd. Tickets are available at rtriangle.org. So get those tickets. You don't want to miss this show. Guys, thank you once again.
Thank you.
For this opportunity.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
I'm Eric Russell, and I've been out and about with the cast of The Busy World is Hushed. You never know where I'll turn up next, so see you next time.